Do you struggle in your conversations on the topic of veganism with your friends or on the streets? Today, I want to share a valuable insight with you. The power of the foundation behind your activism. Veganism, as first defined by Leslie Cross in the 1950s, is the doctrine that humans should live without exploiting other animals. This definition is powerful because it addresses the root of all abuse, suffering, and violence, and specifically targets the mindset that people hold that views animals as resources, objects, and commodities. It challenges the mindset that animals exist for us to use and benefit in any way. When we focus our activism around reducing harm or reducing suffering or reducing killing, it allows for compromises and half measures, sending a message that some level of exploitation is acceptable, or that there may be an actual proper way to use an animal. But the reality is, animals exist for their own purpose. They do not exist for us to use and benefit from. Using terms like reducing suffering or reducing harm or killing or abuse does not challenge them to rethink the human relationship with animals. By framing veganism as a moral imperative, you push for a complete paradigm shift. You are demanding an end to an injustice and a revolution in how humans and animals can live on this earth today. Let's consider some of the common arguments that we might hear. When veganism is framed as a reducing of harm, killing, or suffering, these arguments may actually seem compelling and might actually be considered valid. That is why they come up in the first place. But when focusing on Leslie Cross's definition as our foundation, these arguments can simply be dismissed as irrelevant to the movement. In crop deaths, for example, animals are not seen as objects or as resources, which is what leads to these incidental deaths. And the same for lions. They are not humans. Therefore, they are not within the scope of definition because veganism is about the relationship between humans and animals. Do you see where I'm going and how these arguments simply become invalid and we can simply dismiss them as not even relating to the topic of veganism once we understand what veganism is actually fighting for? This definition dismantles such arguments and keeps the focus on intentional exploitation at the hands of that individual. It prevents you from needing to entertain all these excuses, arguing about things that don't actually relate to the topic of veganism, and keeps your mental health in check. So if you're struggling with your activism or your outreach, remember the power of sticking to this definition as a strong foundation. This is the path to true liberation and lasting impact. I will be making more videos like this, helping you with your outreach and your messaging. If you thought this was valuable, follow me for more.